Hello and welcome to One Man, One Mic at WHSK. This is Chris at Commonwealth University Bloomsburg, and today we are going to be exploring a somewhat new technology, the Cricut machines. Now, these machines can be used to cut specific shapes out of a variety of different materials and can be used in quite a few different ways. Now, I personally really enjoy the Cricut cutters, and I think they're quite lovely, but others online have their arguments regarding the Cricut. So we'll get into those later. Anyway, so Cricut cutters are the leading industry designer in something called a cutting plotter, which is a more generic term of a vinyl cutter, but Cricut cutters are much more high tech since they allow you to port designs directly from your computer to the machine itself, allowing the machine to near perfectly cut out your image. They really streamline this process because, before Cricut machines, the designing, cutting, and production of vinyls can take a lot of time and energy and uses many different programs from the initial sketch to the final product. It's just very, very complicated. Now, Cricut was really the first company to bring this complicated process to homes in a fairly inexpensive, fairly simple way. Now, in the beginning, you could only really cut vinyl, paper, or film, but now they can even cut things like fabric or leather. This then allows for easier things like scrapbooking and or card making. It's very diverse and only evolving. Although it has reached up to numbers of over 300 types of different materials they can cut, Cricut has honed into a lesser figure, instead focusing on quality of work rather than quantity of work, with the latest models of Joy Extra and Explore 4 going back to the roots of paper, vinyl, and simple fabrics with great results. The first Cricut machines I remember popping up were only available at high-tech places like Best Buy or Micro Center, but now you can buy them pretty much everywhere, even your own local craft store. And this has made it very accessible to people of all skill levels and ages. The Cricut also provides a gateway for people into arts and crafts due to its ease of use and boundless efficiency. It is especially handy for people with dexterity problems, allowing them to cut things without risk to themselves. Although the machines popped up in the early 2010s, it's only been very recently that they started to blow up and really make some huge moves in the fabric and embossing industry. They've also made some huge strides with the invention of Cricuts that are now powerful enough to cut complex designs into metal, as well as another Cricut that uses an inexpensive heat press that is able to replicate colors faithful to your own image, reminiscent of your local craft store's transfer papers. Another really big thing that has kept them advancing on the market recently is the Cricut Design Space app, which allows users to upload photos directly from their camera roll to the machines in a near seamless process. I find the Cricut machines, especially the heat transfer ones, to be really incredibly efficient when it comes to things like designing uniforms for a small charity with not a lot of funding. I personally have a lot of friends and family that have started selling stickers with their Cricuts. It really is becoming a livelihood for some people, and I think that is just absolutely amazing. Now, where the controversy comes in is in regards to the fact that the Cricut can cut fabric. I'm a part of a few different sewing forums, and the main argument is that cutting fabric is a part of the sewing process. It's important that you cut accurately and cleanly, but also with human edge and tact. Now, the Cricut machine almost completely eliminates this process, which, can be handy for repetitive things like quilts or pattern designs, but it can also take a lot of traditionality and sentimentality out of things like, for example, making clothes for a friend or patching up a pair of jeans. Now, another argument I've seen people talk about is regarding Cricut machines taking away jobs. Now, let's dive a little bit into the US's history for a quick second. Since before World War I, the establishment of American sewing and manufacturing jobs were a big stepping stone towards mass production of clothing. But now in the modern day, a lot of the textile work has been moved to where it's cheaper, places like Vietnam, China, Japan. So I don't think a lot of jobs, if any at all, will really be lost to a silly home fabric cutter. All in all, I really think that the Cricut has been a revolutionary product to the at-home craft scene, allowing for pretty much anyone to make pretty much anything, all the way from cards to clothing. This diversity in crafts, as well as the availability of said crafts, makes for the Cricut to be a wonderful new technology.